Hi there. I'd like to pull on your coat about a couple of things that I think about often in this natural living field. Hopefully this will help you understand the field a little bit better. There's a couple of labels that has got me quite concerned in this human world. The first label is organic. What does that mean, organic, when we say something is organic? And there are many misconceptions, and it's a very abused term, in my opinion, these days. So I want you to understand the different uses of it, and therefore you can see where the confusion is. Organic, what we normally consider to be organic, is something that's raised naturally, maybe without chemical involvements. And that's true in that context, but organic really means, in the original conception of it, it means containing carbon. And if you're a biology student from before, you will know the nightmare that's called organic chemistry. That's the big bane of the biology student. That's the real thing that they have to study for. That is the branch, the industry of science that is carbon-based biology. All of us on this planet are carbon-based units. All of life is carbon-based. And it's within this realm of organics that we exist. But did you know that, for example, a fertilizer can be produced that is just simple powders, chemicals like every other powder you've ever seen. And if it has carbon in the formula, it can be called organic fertilizer. And you can buy it thinking that it's something natural and without any of that involvement, but it's right in there as chemical as anything else. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. So there is that misconception of the word organic. Now let's look at the industry. These days, organic, quote-unquote, organic farmers have got to get certified so that everybody will trust them when they say they are doing natural farming. Well, we've got certification agencies now springing up all over the place. And what are they really? They are bodies of bureaucracy, and they're doing good. Now, don't get me wrong, but what happens to a farmer when they have to get certified now in order to be trusted that what they produce is actual bona fide natural stuff that it doesn't involve any chemicals? They have to go through somebody who is essentially spying on their farm to make sure that everything they're doing is on the up and up and that they're not slipping chemicals in there at some point. That they test their subsoil, they test their produce, and they watch their daily operation. And finally, when they're satisfied, then they can be certified organic. What does that do, though, to the farmer? What does that do to the industry? That costs money. You're paying for that bureaucracy in the actual produce that you are buying at the store or at the farmer's market. One of the reasons why it is so expensive to buy organic produce is because of this, because they have to pay a pretty penny to become certified and to become trusted in the world that they are doing what they say they are doing. So that's something to keep in mind. Another label that I've got a little bit of a problem with is this label that we call farming. What does it mean when somebody's farming? This is another good question, I believe, in the world. When we have normal, quote-unquote, farmers out there, they're generally going to be somebody who is doing the chemical farming or the commercial or conventional farming. Now, how did these new technology upstarts, in historical terms, how did they become conventional? Whereas the entire planet throughout history had been doing nothing but organic, what we now have to call organic farming. They've been doing that since the beginning of time, since farming began, because that's all that there were. There were no chemicals in the early days. How did these chemical guys take that normal farming label, that conventional label, the commercial label, and own it for themselves? What happened there? Why are they allowed to do that? They're the upstarts. So this is why I have a problem with farming as a term. So what happens now is these days we have to label our farming. We have to be called organic farmers, biodynamic farmers, free-range farmers, whatever. But we've got to put a special label in front of farming in order for us to be not confused with those chemical guys. And this creates not only a rift in the industry, but it creates invitations to misunderstanding what farming really is. And so that's a little bit of a problem that I've got with the label of farming. I believe, in my opinion, that when we say just farming, it should mean what we now have to call organic farming, and that when we look at what we now call conventional farming, the chemical farming, we should call it for what it is, chemical farming. So that when you go to the store and you've got these choices to make, all the ones that are produced chemically should be called chemical produce, chemical results of farming. And then the organics should be just called natural or whatever, or nothing at all. This is just produce. This is the good stuff. You've got the chemical stuff and you've got the good stuff. It would be a perfect world from my viewpoint. But as we see, it is actually the opposite. The normal produce that we go to the store and purchase is this stuff which is actually chemical in nature. Many people are assuming that is much better for them than it actually is. What they are actually doing in reality is destroying the croplands around the planet or wherever this is being engaged upon. And they are slowly destroying our nutrition. They're destroying the quality of the seeds. Right on down the line, everything that is involved is slowly being destroyed, whittled down, weakened, and having less value for us, the consumers, throughout at least the industrialized world. So anyway, I hope that this sheds some light on a couple things that are going on out there in the world, and on to the next topic.